All right, Kevin, back with you with another episode of the $1 Million Relationships Podcast. And today I'm here with Dino Gomez. Dino, welcome. So awesome to have you on the show today.
Kevin, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to have an awesome chat with you today.
I have been totally looking forward to this too, Dino. I want to start by giving a shout out to Mike Bell because Mike was the one that introduced us, and you and I got a good laugh about this the other day because Mike he wrote this glowing message, this glowing email that he sent to you and I, and like it had me so jazzed and so inspired and just like so excited to talk with you, which we just got to have a conversation the other day, and you filled me in. It's like, Mike, I don't know him that well, but man, I really like that email he wrote. He just like talked really good about me. It's
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. I was like, you know what? That might be the nicest, best introduction I've ever had. I'll take it.
so he knows he's good friends with your mom, is that right?
Yeah. Mike and my mom are connected here in San Diego.
Yeah. And well, I'll tell you, what's really cool is I've gotten to know Mike a little bit. And Mike does he lives in San Diego, but he does business in Dallas Fort Worth area. And he's a very unique kind of a real estate investor. And but he's also, I mean, man, he's an ex-military guy. He spent a lot of time in the military, and in fact, I got to connect him when I found out he was a military guy. I was like, I got this other friend of mine, Aaron. Aaron was a military guy. Aaron was a guy who defuses bombs, is what Aaron
Wow.
used to do in the military.
Wow. Yeah.
And one of those bombs exploded on him. And he lost his sight and then ultimately his hearing from that experience too. And and as soon as I started telling him about my friend Aaron, he said, "Oh my gosh, Kevin," he said, "I know of Aaron." And he's like, "Are you kidding me? You know Aaron?" And I'm like, I was like, I would be honored to introduce you guys and stuff. And so I got to do that for them. And I think so you get to know people. And of course, what a testament to the power of right relationships. And this is such a perfect example of that. And this is what this podcast is all about is, Mike and I got connected by a mutual friend who then Mike introduced you and I, and he spoke so highly of you that like, here you are not realizing like, man, I had no idea the guy even thought that much of me, much less, I mean, but yet he wrote this glowing stuff. I mean, like, I mean, looking at the email right in front of me here, and it's just like, wow, he knows enough about you to know your history and what you do, and like it had me totally jazzed to talk with you and stuff. And
I mean,
so
it is by far the best introduction I perhaps have ever received. I was like, man, Mike, thank you.
well, I'll tell you, I have been looking for, I mean, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm stoked to do this interview with you today too. And we'll just start, we'll just dig right in. I'd say that's a nice simple question to get us rolling, and then we can dig deeper from there. What do you do, Dino, and who do you serve?
Yeah, so I'm the founder of San Diego AI Marketing,
Okay.
and we are a digital marketing agency. We specialize in Facebook and Instagram advertising for local businesses, but also we do a lot of work with consultants, coaches, experts, authors,
Okay.
simultaneously as well. And so, if you need more leads, that's our specialty is paid advertising to generate you more leads and help those leads convert.
Okay. Very good. Very good. How did you get into doing this? When I was a kid, I always say, I used to want to be a fireman when I grew up, and I never did become a fireman. But and who would have imagined that I'd be doing what I do today? And what's your backstory? How did you get to this place and to even be running the business that you're running now? Do you know?
Gosh, big thanks and shout out to my mom because in college she asked me that question. What do you actually want to do? Like,
Okay.
what is to be fulfilled in a career for 40 years? What are your requirements? What does it have to have and what can't it have? biggest thing for me was time freedom that I can, if I need 2 hours off in the middle of the day because it's nice out to go hiking, I can do so, under my own will, so to speak. And then maybe work an extra hour or two at the end of the day, a little bit later. But it was really that autonomy that I was looking for. And so this is not to age myself, but this is quite a while ago that she had me start thinking about that. And at the time, it wasn't like it is now, where a lot of people are working from home, still in for a corporate company. Back then, it was you had to go on the internet, like that was it. Otherwise, you're in an office, and I was like, the office is not going to cut it for me. I am not a suit guy, as you can tell. It's always t-shirts,
Uh-huh.
and so working backwards, I was like, all right, well, it has to be something online. So I started a blog back in the day. It was a basketball blog.
Okay.
I started getting some random visits from Google, and I was like, well, how do I get more traffic to my blog? And because I threw up some Google AdSense, and I was like, well, I'll get paid more if there's more traffic on my blog.
Uh-huh.
And so that brought me into the world of SEO, search engine optimization.
Yep.
How do you get your web pages to the top of Google so you receive more traffic? So then I got really good at SEO and finished college and was hired like almost instantly out of college because there was, today you can get a degree for online marketing at universities. They're
Mhm.
teaching you AdWords and Facebook ads and SEO, web design and stuff like that. But gosh, a good 20, 40 years ago, there was no such thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was lucky that I had this blog and it had grown in traffic and all these things. I kind of had like a little bit of a resume compared to anyone else. So I got hired real fast. To make a long story short, right out of college, they put me at a director level position, and I have no idea what I'm doing because I'm 23 years old, trying to act like a grown up. But our department grew really fast. It was a direct advertising firm, so they did billboards and posters and flyers and mailers and stuff. So they wanted me to head up the online department, and they were hoping I was going to stay there a long time. And after we grew the department from 0 to 32 clients in like 6 months, because everybody wanted
Wow.
online marketing, but it just wasn't offered many places. And at that point, I was like, oh, well, now I know how to send out a proposal and do reporting and run these campaigns. And so I felt probably entirely too confident,
Mhm.
and decided, I'm going to take off, tell my boss I quit, and started digital marketing agency at 23 years old.
Wow. Wow. So walk us through the first year as the proud new owner of a digital marketing agency, your own.
Proud owner, knowing absolutely nothing about anything besides
Uh-huh.
how to do a little bit of digital marketing. So the biggest thing was like, man, there's taxes there. I need to file an LLC. There's all the other logistical stuff, accounting. So it was rough. I mean, I worked 7 days a week, lost track of friends. I was just head down. I was just sleep, gym, work, trying to make sure I had enough money to cover rent and some real basic food from the grocery store, maybe an occasional California burrito. And so that was lifestyle. It was brutal, but then I had a couple breakthroughs, which came through connections,
Okay.
and it started to grow pretty quickly.
Wow. Wow. And so, what, if we fast forward today, what inspires you most now about the work that you get to do and the impact that you get to make, Dino?
It's kind of a two-sided coin here, Kevin, because one of the things I love about this industry is how dynamic it is. I mean,
Okay.
it is forever changing, as we know right now in this AI revolution. It's just something new every day, week, month, year. Algorithms change on these social media platforms and even with advertising platforms. And so that's fun. That can be extremely fun because it's not just the same repetitive task over and over and over. It can also be exhausting because your brain doesn't have a moment to relax because there's something new you have to learn and test and try and implement. So, but I do love the fact that it's fast paced. I do love working with clients, learning about their industry, their space, their goals,
Yeah.
finding what their bottlenecks are. And it's always easier as an outsider perspective, I feel like, because when you're too
You
close
bet.
to something, right, you can't always see it because you're too involved in the day to day.
Yep.
But I like spotting those opportunities and helping them kind of break through with the correct type of advertising campaign or email marketing campaign, other things that go
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah. You're totally right. We as entrepreneurs, yeah, we get wrapped up and just really involved in the day-to-day activities of the business. So, we that term, you can't see the label from inside the jar. And it's so true. And a lot of times too, we just get emotionally attached, emotionally engaged in our business. And so we do need some outside perspective from somebody who's not emotionally attached to the business, that can just like be straight with us, and just, sometimes it might even sting a little bit, but you know what, man, we got those people that we just really trust and really appreciate, even though sometimes the things they share might sting a little bit. It's like, you know what, it's really for our own good. And I've had many experiences like that over the years. So
Sometimes the truth hurts. That's
yeah.
just life for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So what is example? I mean, let's look at a couple of examples of results and you have to name names here. I mean, you can if you want, but you don't have to name names. What's a result or two that you have helped clients get, that you are just incredibly proud of, Dino?
I mean, right now we're working with a plethora of clients, but in particular, there's a newer client. She's a well-known marriage and relationship coach,
Okay.
and we are running her Facebook ads, which she's never had success with before. She
Oh,
she's very big. She has a big organic social media following, big YouTuber, all these things. And they've tried ads several times. They haven't broken the code on making paid ads work for them profitably, but
uh-huh.
she knows that's kind of the next level that she has to figure out if she really wants to scale. And so they brought me on board, and it's been an amazing campaign. We've been doing this only 3.5 months so
Okay.
far, and the very first thing that we did, which I recommend, it doesn't matter your industry, I'll give examples of this. The very first thing we did that I recommend to anybody running paid ads is to take a break from your current campaign and run a live workshop
Okay.
if you're not already currently doing so. Because Kevin, there's something magical about sitting down with somebody live. You know this, whether it's a podcast, whether it's in person, the online industry, everything's pre-recorded. People can tell a fake webinar from something that's live by the interaction that the host has with the audience. And live workshops convert because people have questions and they cannot buy oftentimes unless their specific question is handled.
Yeah.
And that's the power of a live workshop, is that you can handle all those questions so that you position your audience to be able to say, this is for me or this is not for me. And oftentimes, if it is for them, they can move forward. And so we very much always encourage somewhere in your advertising campaign that there be a live workshop. And
Okay.
so with this relationship coach, that was the first campaign we ran in month one. She had never done a workshop before, so she was a little bit nervous. She did exceptional. And they had one of their biggest months to date. They were in a little bit of a rut previously, they said, for a few months, and this broke them out of it in a massive fashion. And
Nice.
and in this world of AI, that's what people want. They want to talk to a human and
Yeah.
connect and see what your energy's like. And so that's one particular campaign that's top of mind because it's so new.
Okay, okay. And you know what? And you're so right. I mean, AI, AI is kind of this double-edged sword. There's a lot of great things happening because of it, and there's a lot of not so great things happening because of AI. And it's having a big impact on trust. And we're kind of in this trust recession, and AI does have a big place, a big role in that. And you're so right that like people want to connect with other people in just a real meaningful way. And it is, this whole thing, this whole topic of like just relationships are becoming more and more valuable by the day, just because of all the stuff that's going on with AI and stuff. And
100% agree. And the fact that I think it's on average we get like 700 to 1,000 pieces of content a day
okay.
and or notifications through your phone and
Uh,
or emails, right? So we're just bombarded with people trying to grab our attention left and right,
yeah, yeah.
and relationships cut through all that noise.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, I get so many notifications on my phone. I turn pretty much all of them off because I'm like, I don't want to deal with this stuff.
I got to figure out that whole spammers calling my phone, but I just don't answer my phone now
No,
unless it's a
no,
name you recognize. Like
that's
it's
right. So,
the
yeah, same. I
telemarketer's
don't,
out of
yeah,
control
I
as well.
never answer my phone if it's not a number that I recognize. Absolutely. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
and, well, okay. So now that we've got a little bit of context set here, and people have a little bit of an idea of who you are and what you're all about. I want to switch gears just a little bit. I want to start talking about the relationship side of all this. So, have you ever been introduced to a person or persons who completely changed the course of your life or your business, so much so that much of what you have today would not be possible if not for this person or persons? And I'm just really excited to hear your story and your experience around this topic of relationships.
There's a lot of individuals that come to mind for that, but the first one on the topic of business marketing and so forth is this gentleman named Greg Ortiz.
Okay.
And we'll go back a moment. I was 23 years old, first year running my own business, lucky to have a job out of college. I just told my boss that I quit and all the emotions and stuff running around. But I decided real early as an entrepreneur that I would launch a podcast.
Okay.
And as an agency owner, I decided this is going to be an SEO podcast because that was kind of my niche space at the time. And so I decided there wasn't an SEO podcast out there. I was like, perfect, we can be the first one. I need a great first guest so that this takes off on the right foot. And the first individual that came to mind was Greg.
Okay.
His name at the time was plastered and still is. He's very well known and liked in the industry. But his story was kind of going viral in the SEO community because he was working at Bed Bath and Beyond. I think he was in his mid 20s as the manager, and then he figured out a way with SEO to make about 50 grand a month recurring.
Okay.
And so everybody, and then he quit Bed Bath and Beyond, and he's out there living this amazing entrepreneur life, the laptop lifestyle as they call it. And so everybody's like, I need to follow Greg. How did you do it? Really nice guy, really smart guy. And so I was like, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing if I got Greg to be the first guest on the podcast? He can share his story and all the things. And so I reached out to him on Facebook, just said, hey, dude, I'm launching the first ever SEO podcast. We need to have like the best first guest to really set the bar here. I think that should be you because you're king of the hill. What do you think? And lo and behold, right, because I had never done this before, I didn't know that the chances of him even seeing my message, responding to it, saying yes, making time for it, showing up on time for it, a lot has to go correctly. He said, yeah, he goes, that sounds like fun. And he made it seem like it was so easy that I didn't know that, like, it's hard to grab people's attention, their time, their energy. And he's got a family as well. So he's a busy guy, just like yourself. But he hopped on the podcast, and I'm in this little one bedroom apartment. So I'm in my bedroom is where my office was as well. So my bed's in the background. There's like dirty laundry falling out of the hamper behind me. We did a video podcast, so it went on iTunes with the audio, but it went on YouTube as well, the video. And we just had a ton of fun. And he didn't hold anything back. He shared all of his best stuff. So it was a great, valuable episode.
That's
And so we
awesome.
became friends from that one, from that sit down there. And then he's like, you know what? You need to come join the mastermind I'm in because this is where I learned all this stuff. He's like, I didn't invent it. I just been doing what they tell me to do in this mastermind. And it was an invite only mastermind. I said, wow, it was an expensive one, but I was like, wow. So I figured out a way to make the enrollment into the mastermind happen. And Greg was the only one I knew in there. And then all of a sudden, I meet and make friends with another 20, 30 entrepreneurs like myself. And they had a live event in Nashville, Tennessee, a month after I joined.
Okay.
They only do these events once a year. So I got really lucky that I joined and it happened to be the next month, but I got to meet everybody in person. And I've had countless business partners and clients and just friendships that have developed from Greg bringing me into that mastermind. And then I even met at that event a young lady who I ended up dating for 8 years.
Wow. Wow.
And so it was really amazing. I mean, I met everybody there. I met my at the time my partner for 8 years and clients, colleagues, business partners, and everything else.
Wow. Wow. That, and what a great example how one right fit connection to one right person can just lead to so much more, you know. And just like in the example that you just shared, going to that group because of Greg, and but then you met all these other people, a gal who became your wife for 8 years, or a guy who became your partner for 8 years, all these other relationships, all because of one connection,
Yep.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Met my, well, yeah, I met my soon-to-be wife there at the mastermind. And then, but it's just phenomenal. The other thing that did, though, that whole experience beyond just one person can introduce you to a lot of other people that will impact your life and your business. It changed my mindset because
okay,
Greg was so nice. So I'm sure just hectic schedule. Everybody's reaching out to him, trying to get a little bit of his time, figure out how he's cracked the code. And for him to spend an hour not even knowing me, first podcast too, so it's not like I have a big listener
yeah,
base or anything else. I don't have a following myself. He was really just doing that, I think, out of the kindness of his heart to give back. But it changed my perspective on relationships as well. The mindset of like you just never know what
yeah,
saying yes to an opportunity can lead to.
you bet, you bet,
And I almost didn't go to Nashville because I was terrified. I'm like 23. I'm like, you know what? I shouldn't waste a weekend in, at this event flying out there. I should be working through the weekend trying to get this business going. So I almost didn't go. Thankfully, I did because, like, yeah, I met all these people that have meant so much to me.
yeah, yeah. Well, so what is an example of a situation where you personally, Dino, got to make this really substantial impact, and maybe in the moment, it maybe even surprise you a little bit. You're just like, wow, look what just happened there, and yet that would have never been possible if not for your relationship with any number of the people that you just mentioned. What's an example where like you were empowered in that way?
Yep. Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last bit? For some reason, my internet cut out for like five
Oh,
seconds.
okay, yeah. So what, so I'm thinking of, what a situation where you got to make a really substantial impact, and yet it would not have been possible if not for your relationship with Greg or any of the other people that you mentioned there. What's an example of a situation where you were empowered in that way by somebody else that you met?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, what I will share as well, because I think this is interesting, is on countless occasions I've introduced somebody to their future spouse.
Okay,
Like, and
okay.
so that's been interesting as well. And I'm not trying to play matchmaker, but that's been interesting as well as like connecting people and seeing what happens as the result of you being the connector piece.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and so I think that's kind of cool. But yes, those relationships that Greg introduced me to, that was top of mind. I had to share that. But yeah, Greg introduced me to Herc. Herc and I became business partners for a good 2 or 3 years, and Herc's a developer, and so he built a software around what I was doing with Facebook ads.
Okay.
And so we had this Facebook advertising software that tied into a little bit of local SEO. And so I'm no developer by any means. So that was kind of cool because this is before Claude and before AI tools of today. So having development skills like 10 years ago was a big deal. And so we partnered on a deal. And ironically, right, I ran Facebook ads to a webinar, and we got all these people onto the webinar, and then we gave a bunch of value. We demoed the software, we pitched the software, and we had this gigantic combination joint launch together.
Okay.
But Herc was one. I met this amazing woman named Liz. She was one of the coaches in the program. She's kind of known as an Amazon queen, but she handles the Amazon account for brands like Nike,
Okay.
and she just knows how to drive traffic, how to optimize all the pages. She does all the things. And so just all these incredible individuals. And then I probably 30 or 40 now clients have come from that mastermind.
Wow. Wow.
And that's, invaluable as well because they've been very loyal because that mastermind was a good like 10, 12 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And and they have followed me around ever since. And whenever I launch something new, they go, "Hey, it's your OMG buddy coming back, which is name of the mastermind was OMG. And so that's pretty wild as well. But yeah, again, it all came from Greg's intro.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Well, for anybody listening to this who might be thinking to themselves, man, Kev, I really like Dino. I love who he is. I love how he shows up. And maybe they're thinking like, man, maybe he might be able to help us with some stuff. Or maybe they know somebody else that they're thinking about that like, man, I bet my friend would really appreciate knowing about Dino and what they do. Any websites, any info we can share on people who might want to follow up with you?
Yeah, yeah. If you guys go to San Diego AI Marketing,
Okay.
just san diego ai marketing.com, you can type in San Diego AI Marketing. We'll be right there at the top as well. You can get a free case study, a free audit. We'd love to check out what you're doing, just give you some advice, or here's what we see as opportunities. That's something we always offer up for
Okay.
free. So you can do that. Otherwise, look me up on Facebook. I have that original name, Dino. It's spelled Dino. So Dino Gomez. Look me up on Facebook. Send me a message. Would love to connect. And I'm kind of like you, Kevin. I like meeting people and seeing how we can help each other out.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're listening to this, just scroll down there because at the bottom I'll have links. We'll have my assistant will make sure we got links included. Make it nice and easy to find Dino's website or his social media or what have you. Dino, is there any last thing that you feel led to share before we call it a wrap?
Yeah, again, I just want to go back to that concept of it. Like, you just never know who somebody is, who they can introduce you
Yeah.
to. You might be able to do something for them, and that's uplifting for you. They could maybe do something for you, but you just never know, right? Like, I wanted to talk with you about that for a quick second, which was that concept of, you have these musicians, famous artists that people pay hundreds, sometimes $1,000 ticket price for to see
Sure.
live. You have those same musicians, right? They love doing this. They go out into the streets the next day, wearing normal clothes, and they sit down on the curb with their guitar, and everybody walks past them, and it doesn't pay them any attention. And it's just that concept. You just never know who someone is, who they're
That's
connected
right.
to, or anything else. And so I think it's that's a cool concept and lesson for all of us to remember.
Yeah, you're so right. You have no idea who knows who, and I always tell people, man, you treat everybody well. For I mean for the gal who's serving you lunch at your favorite cafe or whatever. I mean, just treat everybody well because it all comes back around. And you're right. You never know who knows who and who can. I mean, I have had connections and introductions come from the craziest places sometimes, and it's like, wow, And so, and
And it's interesting because it's not always like one, it's not always immediately back and forth. Sometimes it
yeah,
boomerangs back around through
totally.
someone else.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just a cool concept.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we just treat people well. We just be of value, be of service to others, and it's not always going to come back from where we planted. It's we can harvest from other places than where we planted at and stuff. But I can assure you, it comes back. It comes back in so many ways and in such powerful ways. And
It comes
so
back extra well when you sleep well.
yeah,
That one's
yes.
overlooked quite often, but that one's critical. You got to get good sleep. So,
That's right. That's right. Well, Dino, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you. And I'm excited to get this out there and share it with folks. So thanks so much, Dino.
hey, Kevin, thanks so much for hosting me. This was fun.
You bet.